When I am coaching clients on interviews, I ask them two questions that sound very similar but are actually very different. And that is, why are you interested in this position? And why are you a good fit for this position? Today, we'll go over both of these questions and how to answer them so that you are continually showing you are the best candidate for this position. Let's get into it. So if we haven't met, my name is Cassandra and I help motivated professionals build their careers through practical tips to gain career confidence. And today you really need to know the difference between why are you interested in the position and why are you a good fit for the position, or sometimes it's why are you the best candidate? Why should we hire you? So those two questions seem like very similar questions. And in all honesty, most candidates answer them the same. But if you can understand the nuance, the subtleties between those two questions and answer accordingly, you are going to be a much stronger candidate for the position. Let's start with, why are you interested in the position? Now, this is a question that you need to answer with a passion response. Anything where they're asking interest, when the word interest is in the question, we need to have some passion behind it. So give genuine reasons why you are interested in this position, but with details. So these can include things like it aligns with your values, or the company mission aligns with your values. You're excited for the skill set that you would get to use. You get to have a new challenge that you didn't get in your current position or in your last position. You love this company. You've been a fan of theirs forever. Now, say one of these things or others, but then back them up. Remember, we don't just believe somebody just because they tell us something doesn't mean it's true. But if you can back it up with an example, that's going to prove your passion. When they ask, why are you interested in this position? This is the place where you're not just going to list your skills, but you also need to say the words, I'm excited for this opportunity, or I'm excited to work at this company. They are not going to assume that because you're sitting in the room, you're excited about the position. You have to say it. And I did a short and a reel. Yes, both recently on this too. This is the question where if you're genuinely answering, your eyes light up a little bit. You naturally smile because you're excited for this opportunity. I can tell immediately if one of my clients actually wants the position we're practicing for when I ask this question and they go, I'm really excited about it. Like, there's just a genuine interest in it. Okay, so now why are you the best fit for this position, or why should we hire you for this position? That question, people often, again, lead with passion. They say, well, I'm just really excited about it. This is the one where you actually need to lead with skills. I think candidates often think, well, they already see all my skills that I'm good for the position, so I don't need to say any of that. Let me again say my passion for it. No, this is where we need to remind them, hey, these are all the skills I bring to the table. These are the past experiences that influence why I am now ready for this position. So even if this question is asked at the end of the interview and you've been talking about your skills and your experiences for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, don't be afraid to recap them on this question. Remember, some of it too is they know why they think you're good, but they want to know you know why you're good. It's like on Friends that they don't know that we know that they know that we know. Like, it's one of those. You want to confirm for them what they've been thinking in their head. So you're going to say, I know we've been talking for the last half hour and those things that we've been talking about, my communication skills, my organization, my past experience working with blah, blah, blah group, I think are all things that really make me a great fit. And then you can bring up something that you think makes you a good fit that maybe you haven't talked about. Now, this is not always something that happens, but oftentimes there's something that we think makes us a good fit, but the interview questions we've been asked didn't give us the opportunity to bring that up. So on this question, you now get to share that as well. So you recap what you've talked about, And then you say, and on top of that, I also in my free time have been volunteering at blah, 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 or a project I haven't shared yet was this. And I think it matters and makes me a great fit because remember, we're always connecting the dots. Always connecting the dots. So don't just state the thing, state why it makes you a good fit. And then every now and then there is something that makes you an extremely good fit. You just have the intuition that I know most people aren't going to have this skill set. And so I am going to really hit home. This is what I come with that I think puts me above other candidates. So I've talked about this before, but in my last position as a career strategist or career specialist at a school, they wanted someone like on their, preferred requirements. They wanted someone with a master's in higher education who'd also worked in the entertainment industry. Those two don't come together a lot, but I had them. And so when asked this question, I really hit home like, hey, I have the higher ed degree. I have a passion for career. It's what I did in grad school for 2 years, but also I have 7+ years of entertainment industry experience. And I think that's a really unique skill set that you probably won't find in other candidates. And I think really will make me an asset when speaking to students that I can talk from experience about the world they're about to go into. And I just knew it was the thing that set me apart. I figured they saw it on paper, but still wanted to outright state it to let them know I knew, hey, this is what I think I bring to the table. So the key differences between the two. Why are you interested? Start with passion, follow with examples of the passion, and then back with skills. Why are you a good fit? Start with skills, back with passion, right? You can still on that one end on passion. Start with skills, add any experiences you didn't get to talk about, and then end on I'm also genuinely excited. Okay, so one more thing. If you are going for an entry-level position and you're panicking right now and you're like, Cassandra, I don't have a unique skill set that sets me apart. This is on that why are you the best fit? This is where you're going to state passion. So if it's an entry-level assistant job or a coordinator job, and you know on paper you're all kind of looking the same. Again, on this question, you're going to start with the skills. I've had internships that taught me certain things. I know from a class project, I have these experiences, or just list some of the things you've talked about, organization, communication, etc. But also, I'm genuinely excited to be here. I do not take this as just a job to start out with in the world. I'm excited to work for your company and to learn and grow within this department and hopefully move up over the years because I really value what you do here. Like sometimes passion is the thing that makes you a good fit, but we just lead skills first. Now, if you need more help in feeling confident, getting those answers together, getting prepared for the interview, I have a great short course for you called Feel Confident and Prepared for Your Interview. And in that, you will learn my exact process, y'all. This is literally the process I do when I'm preparing for any interview to go in and feel my best. It will help you in creating all different types of answers to all different types of questions and just getting you prepared for that interview. So if you want that, the link, wow, one more sip of coffee. Okay, so if you are interested in that, you can get that at a link in the description box below. Let me know in the comments. Let's work on this. Why are you a good fit for a position? And why are you interested in the position? Pick something that you've been looking at lately. Tell me why you're a good fit and why you're interested below. The question, why Amazon? Why Google? Why Disney, right? Why our company is bound to come up in your interview, at least somewhere in the interview process. And yet I am so surprised to see how few people actually prepare to have a great answer for this question. Your answer to why our company can be a make or break in whether you move forward or not in the interview process. So you gotta know how to prepare an excellent answer that really connects the dots between you and the company and makes you stand out from other candidates. So let's talk about how to answer it. Okay, so I think it helps to first really quickly just go over what not to do. So first, it cannot be generic. What I mean by that is it can't be, well, Amazon is the best and I've always wanted to work for the best, or, this is just a really great opportunity and I hear really great things about the company, so I really want to work here. Really? Did it really just become a drinking game? But those are the types of answers I get when people haven't prepared. Very generic positivity of just, well, you're a great company, or this is a great company and this is the best, or you're the best in the industry. It's not going to cut it. The next thing you can't do, it can't be about location or money. Now, this also comes up in why interested as a thing not to do, but I've heard it here also of, well, I just really like that you guys are around the corner from my house. That's really convenient and helpful. Or I've heard that you pay really well, and so I want to work somewhere that pays well. Well, don't we all? But that can't be why you want to work for their company as an answer. That can be intrinsically and internally something you care about, but not for your answer to this question. Now, just for clarification, and we will get into it a little bit more in a minute, you can talk about how you've heard great things about the way they treat employees, but we're just not going to focus on pay. Okay, and last, don't just tell them who they are. I get this a lot with my interview coaching clients that they'll say, well, you guys are known, or not even you, they won't address it as you. They will say the company name, like Amazon is known as being at the forefront of technology and innovation, and Amazon is blah, 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 and Amazon is this. And it's like, first off, they are Amazon, so you can say you, but you can't just rattle off that you know these different facts about the company. Here's where the right answer comes in. You need to tell them what you know about the company, but then you have to connect it to why that matters to you. In order to answer this question well, we need to focus on three things. One, you need to look at their mission, their vision, their values, maybe their culture page or their leadership principles, and then connect what in that resonates and matters to you. That's number one. Number two, you want to include the department you'd work in and why it's not just about their company, but about the department. And then number three, you need to connect the dots of how you fit within these things. So that first one, you need to go read over their mission, their vision, their culture, their principles, or Googliness, or whatever that part is for them. Read over those things and just jot down some notes of the parts that really do resonate with you. What is part of their mission that you agree with? Or what is part of their core values or principles that you go, oh, I feel that way too. Jot those things down, because these do need to be genuine. You don't have to have the utmost passion, but you need to talk about what you connect to. And then you want to talk about why the department or team you'd be on is also exciting to you. You know, these huge corporations, the Amazons, the Googles, just anything global or national, to only talk about the company seems a little absurd. You've got to talk about that team too. I'm so excited to be working on a team that does this, and this, right? You want to be talking about the ways that you're excited for what you'd get to do as part of that department and not just the company at large. But the last point, connecting the dots, that is what's going to take an answer from good to great. This is actually one of my biggest pieces of feedback I give in my interview coaching. A lot of times in a bunch of different answers, but especially this one, candidates, the interviewee, give answers that imply they agree, but they don't outright state it. So they will talk about the company mission. They will talk about the company values or a principle that they really enjoy. And it's implied that they think because they're talking about that principle, well, obviously I agree with that principle. You need to state it. In your head, you're thinking, I'm talking about it. It's obvious I agree or align with these things, but they need to know for sure that you agree with whatever you're talking about. So make sure you're connecting the dots. You have to verbally connect the dots between what they do that you like and why you like it. So let's take Amazon, for example. If I was asked why Amazon, this would be part of my answer. I love that one of Amazon's leadership principles is bias for action. I don't want to work somewhere where we sit around and stew on a problem, but never really take action to move forward and figure it out. And I'm excited that at Amazon, we really focus in and get the hard work done to move forward. I'm a self-starter and I'm excited to work with other self-starters that want to fix these problems and come up with excellent solutions for our customers. And that's something that really lights me up and gets me excited for the possibility of working here. So basically, I can't just say, oh, I like that you have a bias for action. I have to state why I too have a bias for action and why it excites me that I get to work somewhere that aligns with that. So make sure you integrate the mission, the vision, the values, the leadership principles, some piece of those sorts of things into your answer. Then add in the department or team. What about that department or team is exciting to you? Something you'd get to work on, a skill you'd get to grow in, or a skill you'd get to share if you were in that department. And then be sure to connect the dots of why these things matter to you. Tell me about a time you made a mistake. This question might be worse than what's your greatest weakness? Nobody wants to talk about the mistakes we've made in the past. But if it's asked to you, you have to answer. So let's talk about how to do that. Okay, so I always like to start with why they're asking this question. I think sometimes we get into these interview situations and we're just like, this is a horrible question. And we just go with our gut instinct and we're not thinking about the why. And the why can change what answer we give. So number one, remember, they aren't asking, tell me about a time you made a mistake just to humiliate you or stump you. I think sometimes people act like interviewers just love to sit there and torture people all day. That's not it. They want to hire somebody. They don't want to keep doing this over and over and over again. They want you to be good for the job. So they're not asking to humiliate you. Why they're asking is because they want to see that you understand you are fallible. You are not perfect. You know there are places where you need to grow, and they want to see that you can grow, that you can change, and that you have some resilience. So keep that in mind. Now, another thing to really recognize with this question can really be dangerous territory for a lot of us because we all probably have some scars from some mistakes we made at jobs past that were maybe big mistakes. Maybe they didn't get you fired, but they were things that got you in trouble with HR or put you in a meeting with your boss that was uncomfortable. And there are wounds for you that kind of stick with you. There are things you don't feel good about, you wish hadn't happened. And when we hear, tell me about a time you made a mistake, our head goes to those things. But I want to be very clear. They asked, tell me about a time you made a mistake, not tell me about your biggest mistake. Okay? So keep that in mind. You do not have to share with them that really uncomfortable situation that you wish hadn't happened. We don't need to talk about that type of mistake. So if you need some help thinking about a mistake, here are some ideas. Something a supervisor asked you to change. Something small that needed to be fixed. Something you've realized in hindsight you would do differently the next time. So sometimes it's not even something that someone told you needed to be changed or had to be changed, but just something that you've now realized, I went about it this way, and next time I would do it this way. I personally think it was a mistake. And some common examples of mistakes that people use are often around a time you took on too much work, a time you didn't check your work, or a time where you made assumptions about how something would be done, and you probably should have clarified first. And here are the keys to answering. Number one, do not dwell on the mistake. Tell me the mistake you made and let's move on to how you solved it, how you fixed it, what you're doing different. And then focus on what you learned. Are there now preventative steps you take? Did you create a checklist for yourself so that will never happen again? Do you make sure you have somebody else review your work before you send it out? Have you put boundaries in place in some way? What are the steps you take so that the mistake doesn't happen again? But I'm just going to say it again. Remember, it is about growth. It is not about seeing how big a screw up you are. And of course, make sure you put this all in the STAR method format: situation, task, action, result. So the situation you were in, the task that involved the mistake, the action is the mistake, and then the result is how you resolved it, changed it for the future. By using STAR, you are stating it in a way that helps give context to the mistake. It's not like it's something, because you're giving the situation and the task, it's not like it's something you do all the time. And then you're showing how you fix it for the future through that result. By focusing more on what you learned, you are demonstrating that you understand that you are not perfect. You are showing that you are a person who's willing to change and do better in the future and have resilience. Now, if you want more help in preparing for interviews and getting all of your answers ready, I have my impressive interview kit for you. You can find it in the description box below. It has checklists and a study guide that you can fill out and start creating all of your answers. It has Zoom backgrounds. It has secret tips that I've given nowhere else to help you impress and do your best in every single interview. So you can get that in the description box. Go check it out. Being asked, what is your greatest accomplishment in a job interview can be super nerve-wracking and anxiety-inducing. You're probably wondering, well, does it have to be a professional accomplishment? What if I have my greatest accomplishment is personal? Or how do I talk about my greatest accomplishment without sounding like a super conceited jerk? There's a lot of anxiety around it, but today I'm going to give you why this question is asked and then how to actually answer it. Okay, I always think it helps to start with why the question is being asked. So you're being asked, what is your greatest accomplishment, for 3 reasons. 1, to see how it aligns with the role. 2, to see what your idea of success looks like. And 3, to see how you accomplish things. Okay, and if we haven't met, just real quick, my name is Cassandra. I'm a career speaker and coach. I help people go from hating work to happy work, and I am happy you're here with me today. So if this video gives you value, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. It really does help. But now let's go back to what's your greatest accomplishment. Okay, the most important thing in your answer needs to be that it aligns to the role. So really, at the end of the day, it can be any kind of accomplishment as long as it has some alignment to the role. But don't tell me about how you ran a marathon if part of the role has nothing to do with perseverance, right? It needs to align in some way, shape, or form. So you can start by looking at the job description and seeing what the qualifications are, the requirements are, and thinking about what's something you've accomplished that would demonstrate that skill. But for some reason, on this question in particular, I have found that it actually helps to think of your accomplishment first and then tie it to a role, or tie it to the role based off some skill or experience. So I like to start by thinking about what is something you've done that you are proudest of. Now, it might be a personal accomplishment. I'm going to challenge you to try and think of a professional accomplishment. But really, take this moment to just think about things you've done before that you're proud of. Jot them down. But now we need to dig deeper. Why are you proud of that thing? Or even go through a couple of them. Why are you proud of these things? What does it say about you? That's the real key. What does that accomplishment say about you? If it's personal, like, not saying I would use this in a position, but let's say that it's over the last year, you lost 50 pounds. Well, that shows that you can set a goal and stick to it. Let's say it's something work related, like you put on a huge gala for your nonprofit. Well, it says that you are a person who can lead. It says that you are a person who can multitask. So think about the accomplishment, then think about why it's important to you, but then think about what does it say about you? Sometimes when we go through the why it's important, we don't get straight to the words of what it says about you. So that's why I like all 3 questions. And often when you get to that, what does it show or say about you question, that is what connects to the job. So for example, an accomplishment I'm proud of is that in my last role, I had to build relationships with companies and people working at companies in the entertainment industry so that they would meet with my students. And not only did I build those relationships, I beat our department goals by at least 25%. every semester. Now, let's say the new role I'm going for is in business development, and a huge piece of that is building relationships. I can tie this employer relations accomplishment to the new position by talking about how building these relationships really showed me that I have strong relationship building skills, that it's something I enjoy doing, and that it's something that I seem to be above average in doing. Now, this is just like the basis for an answer. That is not the full answer, because the full answer needs to be in what now? STAR method, right? We need to have that STAR method answer. So situation, task, action, result. Yes, even on a greatest accomplishment, you need to be giving STAR. Now remember, when you're giving a STAR answer, you want to give some specifics so that they can picture what you're talking about and go on the journey with you. So for my example, the situation and the task, because often they go together, so I do put the S and T together, situation and task. In my previous role, each career specialist was assigned the task of meeting with 20 employers within their industries so that they would meet with students. And we had different touch points that we had to meet, and they could be anything from a low touch, like an email, to high touch, like an in-person event with our students. Okay, the action. Every semester, I would reach out to different employers, first through email, phone calls, etc., in order to get in touch and just learn about them and learn about their goals for their talent pipeline. And then once I met with them, I would come up with a plan of how we could work together. But this also included following up with them, checking in, because that relationship shouldn't just be a one-time thing or a only when I need something thing, but an ongoing relationship. So I would track who I met with, what sort of touch points they had with our students, and then would develop new ways for them to meet with students based not off only my goals, but also their goals for their talent pipeline. And then that ended up being a great way to not just have a one-off relationship for one semester, but an ongoing relationship for years to come. Now the result. These actions resulted in me having over 40 employers I worked with basically every semester and increasing that number of new employers and new touch points. But here's where we do something different. Unlike a regular STAR, on this one, we also want to add the why. Why was this all important? This is an accomplishment I'm really proud of and I think is important because it demonstrates that I have relationship building skills. It's something I seem to do well at. And I really enjoy building these relationships and keeping them going for years into the future. So again, for this question, it's STAR plus why. Okay? Now, it might feel like you're bragging, but Rob Lowe has this quote where he's like, it's not bragging if you've done it. And as long as you're just giving the facts, it's okay. Even when I say I seem to be above average at this, well, I just said I did 25% more at least than any other career specialist or beat those goals. I could have also added in that I always had the most employers of any specialist. It would just show that I did seem to do well at this. It's just the facts. It's stated right there. So same thing, as long as you're not adding any color commentary, as long as you're just stating the facts of these are the things I did, this is what it resulted in, this is why I think it's important, it's not bragging. You did it. Okay, so what if your greatest accomplishment is more personal than professional? Well, first I would clarify with them, does it need to be a professional accomplishment or is it okay if it's a personal accomplishment? As long as they say they're okay with personal, that's fine. Go ahead and give your personal accomplishment. Next, I would honestly stay away from personal accomplishments unless you can make a compelling case of why this is the accomplishment you're bringing up. You need to have a really compelling reason of why. So earlier I gave that example of running a marathon. If this is a job where you're in cold calling sales and you have to deal with perseverance to get through those rejections, maybe the marathon is a great example, right? But in other cases, it wouldn't be. So it really boils down to, can you make the case for why this accomplishment would show success for this role in particular? Another thing with personal accomplishments, I would really stay away from anything with spouses, children, or family members, solely because this is disclosing information that they're not even allowed to ask you about. So I say try to stay away from it, but go with your gut. There's always that one-off situation that works. And I know someone's going to comment and go, but Cassandra, this thing happened to me with my kids and blah, blah, blah. And it is my greatest accomplishment. Go with your gut. So again, other than that area of family, I truly believe you can honestly say almost anything as long as you can make that compelling case as to why it matters in relation to this role. Okay, so now that we've answered greatest accomplishment, let's be real. They're going to ask you, what's your greatest weakness? Go watch that video here or get more interview tips here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.